Hey there. Ever imagine working in a place where fresh air, it's not a given, like it's a luxury. We're talking sewers, wells, places most folks wouldn't go near. But that's what we're diving into today, this FAS Turbo Flow system. And let me tell you, it's way more than just a mask. It's practically a lifeline in those situations.
Yeah, it's incredible when you think about it. This system, it takes something we totally take for granted, breathing, and makes it possible in the toughest spots. It's a mix of ingenious design and some really tough engineering.
Absolutely. So let's break it down a bit. First up, the full face mask. Now, this isn't your run-of-the-mill dust mask. This thing seals completely, totally isolates you from, well, whatever's in the air.
Right, like you said, those places most wouldn't go.
Yeah.
That seal makes all the difference when you could have hazardous gases, particles, all that.
Exactly. It's about protecting your lungs, making sure you can work without, well, putting yourself in danger. And speaking of breathing, the double air hose, it's like a backup system for, well, breathing, which seems like a good idea in those unpredictable places, right?
Absolutely. One hose gets snagged, damaged, whatever. The other one's there. Fresh air keeps flowing.
Redundancy. Gotta love it, especially when it's, potentially life-saving. But we're talking tough jobs, often in cramped spaces. Comfort matters too, right?
Huge. Can't be an afterthought.
And that's where the belt and connector system comes in, distributes the weight, keeps everything snug, but not like you're strapped into a rocket or anything.
Exactly. And that comfort, it translates to focus. You're not fiddling with your gear, worrying about your next breath. You can, actually get the job done.
Right. And speaking of getting the job done, sometimes those jobs take you deep, right? That's where the air supply hose comes in, 10 and 20-meter lengths. It's like extending your clean air bubble further into the thick of it.
It is. Like having that extra long tape measure.
Yeah.
Always need it, right? Never seem to have it. This hose, though, it gives you that flexibility to reach where you need to.
Exactly. You're never too far from a good, clean breath. But none of it works without the powerhouse, right? The blower. This thing is the engine that drives the whole system. And get this, dual connectors. Two workers can use the same unit.
It's practical, sure, but it also kind of speaks to the teamwork aspect of these jobs.
Yeah.
You're going to a tough spot, knowing your partner's got your back, air-wise, and you've got theirs. That's huge.
It really is amazing, all these well-thought-out features. But it's not just the individual parts, right? It's how it all comes together to actually solve problems, real-world stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Anyone can, cobble together a mask and a hose, but the FAS Turbo Flow system,
Yeah.
it's different. It's in those little details, like take how easy it is to use. In a pressure situation, the last thing you need is some complicated procedure.
You got that right. So no wrestling with straps, no tangled hoses.
Exactly. This system, it's all about quick setup, quick removal, too. Because when seconds count, fumbling with your gear, that's the last thing you want.
And it's not just speed either, right? You've talked before about comfort, especially on those jobs that can go on for hours.
Oh, for sure. And they really nailed it with the FAS Turbo Flow. Each worker, they can adjust their own airflow. Find that balance. Not too much, not too little, just right.
Right, because nobody wants to feel like they're suffocating, but you don't want the mask blowing off your face either. And speaking of airflow, those pressure relief valves, they're crucial, huh?
Totally. It's uncomfortable, yeah,
Yeah.
but more than that, it's distracting. You need to be focused on the task, not worrying about your mask inflating every time you breathe out. Those valves, they just keep things consistent, comfortable.
And while we're on safety of the connectors, those aren't your typical hardware store fittings, right?
No way. We're talking industrial grade here. Built for, well, when your life depends on it. No leaks, no weak points. They really took it seriously.
It sounds like they built this thing to last, which makes sense given, where it's used.
Durability is key. The whole system, it's built with these heavy-duty materials.
Mm.
Can't skimp on that, not in those conditions.
Mm.
It's more than just equipment, really. It's an investment, worker safety, peace of mind, all that.
Absolutely. And what's really cool is, they focus on sewers, water treatment, but I can see this being huge in so many other areas.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime you've got confined spaces, hazardous materials, even just bad ventilation, this thing's a game changer. It's not just making things safer, it's opening up new possibilities. That's what gets me excited.
It's like we're, I don't know, almost rewriting the rules. Like, this is just how it's done, got to deal with bad air. Not anymore, maybe.
Right. It changes how you see things. And once you start down that path, it's exciting. It's not just about, like we said, safety first, of course, but it's what comes after that.
Yeah.
What you can do when the environment isn't holding you back.
It's those what-if moments, right? But they're not what-ifs anymore.
Exactly. Like, take worker productivity.
Mm.
You're more comfortable. You're not worried about, well, breathing. you can really focus on the task, right?
No more holding your breath, rushing to get back to, like, normal air.
Exactly. And it's bigger than just that. This kind of, well, I'd call it innovation. It changes how we think about whole industries, right? Disaster relief, hazardous waste, I mean, even exploring deep caves, underwater, those places become more possible.
It's like that old saying, what is it? Necessity is the mother of.
Yeah.
Something like that. But these inventions, sometimes they do so much more than we thought they would at first. It makes you think, what if clean air, breathing easy, it wasn't something we just expected, but like a tool? You bring it with you.
Powerful concept. And it's part of a bigger trend, I think. Being proactive about safety. Not just reacting to the bad stuff, but, getting ahead of it.
Which benefits everyone, right? Workers are safer, jobs get done better, we can take on tougher and tougher things. So I'm curious, thinking about your work, what comes to mind? What could you do differently if fresh air wasn't a limit? What would you, go after if you knew you could breathe easy no matter what? Makes you think.
It really does. Sometimes the biggest limitations are the ones we put on ourselves or just kind of accept.
Well said. And on that note, we'll leave you with that thought. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. Always great to explore these innovations that are honestly changing the world around us. Until next time, stay curious out there.